How are you today? It's Mack with PCSN. We're back for another one of our one-on-one chats. Me and Nadeem, who is the owner and CEO of PCSN, and been enjoying it. We hope that it's been insightful, and we actually have another great quote-unquote show for you today, talking about something that's become of great importance. So, Nadeem, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mac?
It's Friday. It's storming. My internet has not been working correctly all day. I'm just happy for the end of the day.
Yeah, we've had really good days the last couple of days, and then today, all of a sudden, as we get close to the weekend, the rain starts.
Rain. It's been something else. It's been something else.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a few things that's been going on, especially something that keeps you awake at night. MFA. That's something this week in our small business webinar we're kind of talking about. And I really wanted you to kind of expound on that because it seems as if people don't understand the importance. We're going to talk about a incident that's happened that kind of ties into this. But tell us a little bit about it. Give us an overview.
So, if you haven't already, I would say, go check my video I just did, I think a couple of days ago. But anyway, in short, MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. So basically, if your credentials get compromised, somebody will need to have access to your handheld device before they can log into your account. So it basically provides you that level of protection. Now, here's how all this credential stuff has progressed as time goes on. So, a year ago, you might recall that, everybody was saying, oh, you got to change your passwords every 20 days, every 30 days, whatever, you got to have complex passwords and you got to change them every 30 days or 40 days. Well, at that time, the second factor authentication was not there. You could not enable it in a lot of applications. And so it was a technological problem that now is solved. So now you can have MFA pretty much on anything out there. And what they're finding out, what the security specialists are finding out is that if you have a password that expires every 30, 40 days, that's a problem because what happens is the users start using password, which is the same as the previous password, except 1 or 2 digit is different. So it's easier to guess. Number two, some users will actually start writing down these passwords in a list and they'll keep rotating them. So every year they rotate through this list of passwords. So that's another bad thing to do. So the new guidance from security professionals is don't expire your passwords. Leave the passwords what they are, but enable second factor authentication, which gives you that level of protection. Now, what does multi-factor authentication solve for us? It solves a very basic need, and that is even if your username and password gets to the bad guys, they cannot log in. There is no way for them to log in unless they have access to your handheld as well. So now you have to, basically kidnap a person, grab their handheld before you can log in with their credentials, which is very unlikely that that's going to happen. So it is a no-brainer, and I get all kinds of excuses. Look, we're all human, right? One thing that humans do really well is not want to change. All of us do it. We don't want to step outside of our comfort zone. But the problem is it's only when we step outside of our comfort zone that we grow. And so I've seen from a lot of people where they don't want to enable MFA because they're saying, oh, well, it's too difficult. It's going to be a pain. It's this and that. It's not. It's really not. And my video that I did a couple of days ago shows how it's so simple, it's easy, and it's seamless. Once you get a device trusted, that's it. Nothing is different. You just log in like a normal device. And the benefit to this is twofold. Now, of course, the main benefit is the bad guys cannot log in. However, a side benefit is that if you get that password come into your cell phone as a text message in the middle of the night and you were trying to sleep, You know somebody has your password. So you know you need to change that password because somebody already has your password. They
Right.
peeled that one layer of security off already by having your password, and it was that second layer that they couldn't get past. So that's an indication to you, hey, heads up, your password has been compromised. You need to change that right now. So it solves, multiple, problems. And we hear nowadays a lot of, this, emails getting compromised, phishing attempts, people getting scammed for, a certain amount of money getting transferred from one bank to another to a different account. All this goes away if you have MFA enabled. Such a simple thing. Just do this one thing, and all this can of worms just goes away.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why people don't want to do it. Now, let me give you another example. It is so important to implement MFA that Microsoft will not allow partners to participate in the CSP program. That's a Microsoft certified program. They will not allow partners to participate in it unless they have MFA enabled on all their accounts in their tenant. So in other words, Microsoft's saying you cannot participate in our program until you enable MFA. It is that important. They don't want to hear excuses. They don't want to hear about, oh, this or that. They don't want to hear about, oh, but my old scanner does not work right, or this or that. They're like, Now, of course, you're thinking I mentioned old scanner. You can enable app passwords for older devices that do not support newer types of authentication. So that's not even a problem anymore. So just do it. I mean, just close your eyes, enable MFA, and do it. Now, there is a certain sequence you have to enable MFA to minimize impact on the user. And we've got that sequence down. I mean, we've done so many MFA enablements that we've got that, it's like flipping burgers for us. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It's not a guessing game anymore. If somebody who has not done as many implementations as we have done, and they try to guess at it, they are going to have problems. And mainly the problems that we see is from upper management. It's when somebody's trying to try something, they don't know for sure if this is going to happen this way, and then they go to try to enable this for the president or CEO of the company, and that CEO says, get out of my office. I don't want you in here anymore. I don't want MFA. Just get out of here. So I think that's where we get some pushback, is the experience of the process of onboarding. You have to. It's not difficult. You just have to follow through in a certain sequence, and you have to do certain things before you do certain other things. It's just like anything, like an assembly line. You cannot put an engine in a car if there's no chassis. I mean, it's just not going to work.
Yes, that's a great analogy. Wow.
And we've done, so many implementations. We've got that sequence down. We can do knowledge transfer. We can train in-house IT admins how to do it. And a lot of times we do this. Companies that have a lot of users, we go in, we just show their IT and when I say go in, we do this remotely most of the time. But we train their in-house IT team. Hey, this is how you do it. This is the process you follow. Okay. We do a few, and then we tell them, okay, go ahead and do it. I'm going to watch you. And they do a few, and we're like, you're good to go. Just follow this. Take care of all of them. So we show them for 2 or 3 accounts. They do 2 or 3 accounts while we're watching, and then they take it and run with it, and they implement like 100 or 140. I mean, the last one that they did, I think, is like 176 users. And we only show them, we only do together like 5 or 10, and then the rest of them, they do it themselves. And there's never an issue because now they have that process down. It's not like they're trying to figure things out. It's done, Right. So that's the key is you want to enable MFA. We shouldn't even be having this conversation.
You would think so. Yeah.
I mean, and the reason it keeps me up at night is it's such a simple thing that a lot of companies out there already have it. And it's not like you already have it for free. It's such a lousy product. People are just giving it away for free. No, you are already paying for it.
Yeah.
You're paying for a service. Why not use it?
Yeah.
It just boggles the mind, especially my techie mind. It just boggles it. It's like, why are companies not doing this?
Well, it's funny. This might boggled my mind a little bit more as far as this next thing that actually kind of ties in. Recently, there was this huge breach with this and I forgive me, I forget the name of the law firm, but this law firm represents some very high profile celebrities. And unfortunately, also the president was caught in this with some very sensitive documents. Um, could have, and I think you kind of talked about this before, could MFA have prevented that from happening? And you know, at this point, with everything that's going on with security breaches and phishing and all this other stuff, what do you think it's going to take for some of these businesses to really get that? Hey, this is important.
So there are a few things that that you want to keep in mind, and for any customer, this is like the initial assessment that we do, and I would encourage anybody out there, maybe even if you're not a customer of PCSN, I would encourage you to go to our website, go up on reports and download some of the reports in there, and schedule an assessment, and it's not going to cost you anything, but it's going to give you a lot of valuable information about your infrastructure and where the weaknesses are. And here's what happens in a situation like this. There are two kinds of attacks. One is where the bad guys simply encrypt your data and you don't have access to your data. Now, that's easy to fix, right? If you have good backups, you're not worried about encrypted data. You can always restore from backups, right? You have good backups, right? Simple. And you'll be amazed how many companies don't have good backups. They think they do, but they don't. Anyway, so the first thing is, the bad guys will encrypt your data. They'll ask for a ransom. And this is an automated process, by the way. And then once you pay the ransom, they will release the key that you can decrypt the data with.
Right.
Maybe the key will work. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be an outdated key. You don't know. I mean, you got to trust the bad guys that they'll give you the right key, right? So anyway, so that's one way of doing it. Now, the second way the bad guys do it, which is more prevalent nowadays, by the way, it's a more sophisticated type of attack. So basically what they're doing is they're doing a data dump. So what they're doing is they're gaining access to a machine and they're dumping all the data that can be important and they're taking that off. So now, even if you clean off that machine, you unplug the machine, you disconnect the machine totally, the bad guys already have your data. And then we see that this data it is used multiple times for several different things. So for example, this case, that the breach that just happened with this law firm, it's going to be a multi-tiered approach. And think about it like a bad guy, right? How can you monetize what you've got invested the best way? The data that you have, how can you monetize it? You're going to do it a couple of ways. One is you're going to tell that law firm, hey, you better pay up or we're releasing this info, right?
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two is they struck a gold mine because a lot of the people on this list, a lot of the data that was breached belonged to some important people, celebrities, So that is highly sought after data. So the second tier is going to be, okay, now I've already got some money from this law firm, or maybe the law firm says, we're not going to pay, go do whatever. The second thing that they're going to do is then they're going to start approaching some of the celebrities that they have the data for. So now
it's actually happening, yeah.
Exactly. So now you have certain data that kind of, compromises their personality in certain way. And now they're going to go to these guys and say, hey, by the way, we do have your data now. We want you to pay X amount of money. So I think, combined together, that's a huge windfall for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Now, the malware that was used in this attack, it's called Revil, and REVIL, and it uses specific methods to get the data to basically perform the breach. They use a remote desktop protocol, and that's how they get in. Now, I'm not saying this is what was used in this case.
Mm-hmm.
If it was, then that means a couple of things. number one, if the RDP protocol was used, then that means number one, the company failed to secure the RDP protocol. Basically, the company failed to secure remote users. And because that's if RDP protocol was used, that's the only way that the bad guys can get in. Now there are several other methods that this happens as well, but those are kind of a little long shot. It's unlikely that a lot of these other methods were used. But the bottom line is, any company out there, it doesn't matter how small, it doesn't matter how big, they are susceptible to this. You need to follow some best practice, some standards. Yeah. I mean, this is not, we're not breaking new ground. We've been through this several times. I mean, this stuff has already been hashed out, and this horse has been killed so many times. So we need to make sure that a lot of these companies are implementing the standards that are in place. It doesn't matter if you're not in the finance industry. It doesn't matter if you're not in the health industry. You need to have a good baseline and then go from there. And that baseline will be, if there are any remote users. I mean, this is the same thing. I'm going to go in a little direction sideways here. This is the same thing that happened. What was that company that got breached recently? It was a large MSP platform. Actually, I think we discussed it in our webinar. In our seminar. Yeah, I remember this. So we discussed this in our seminar at the Chamber of Commerce last time.
Yes.
So this large MSP, they got hacked the same way that this happens. So somebody had a machine they were remoting into, and they had not secured that remote access, and that's how the bad guys got in. Hey folks, this happens too often. You gotta have good baseline. You gotta follow those standards. There is no excuse for this not to happen. Now, of course, being a law firm, the law firm is going to be like, oh, you do this, we're going to sue you now. Sue what? Who are you going to sue? You don't know who these bad guys are. What are you going to do? The damage is already done. I mean, you cannot. It's like saying, hey, I made a mistake, I screwed up, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
If you're not implementing if you're not following the security protocols, then I would say it's on, and it ticks me off. It's like in the old days, you remember there used to be laws about Wi-Fi, about people connecting to your Wi-Fi, they can be sued, and I mean, it's because the politicians who make the laws, or the people who make the laws, don't understand the technology. And they're like, it's like, hey, if you have an open Wi-Fi access point and somebody connects to it, well, good for them. It's your fault. It's your fault you didn't secure your access point. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. But of course, I try to calm myself down. It's like, okay, I understand the technology. A lot of people don't understand the technology. They're just making do. So at this law firm, maybe it was a clerk or an assistant or somebody who needed to have access remotely. They didn't have access to the IT team, or the IT team had bigger projects they were working on, and they figured out and mucked around and figured out how to get remote access set up for themselves. I don't think that happened in this case, because it's a fairly large law firm, and they have their own IT department, and that IT department will have to open up some ports in their firewalls and stuff. So I don't think that happened. I think somebody dropped the ball in IT over there.
It's funny you bring this up. I don't know if you remember, I won't say the company name. We had a meeting with them. We were talking to them about dark web security. And you did a dark web, you did an actual scan on their domain, and you started rattling off names, and their eyes were like, well, whoa, how did they get that information? But I'll never forget when you mentioned the actual owner's birth date, and that they had traces, I guess, of their social that were hashed out. There was complete silence in the room. They're like, whoa, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, that's the owner. And there was silence. And I remember you were on the phone, but I was looking at their faces, and they were just looking like, how? And it's just one of those things, that we, especially here, we deal with when we're really trying to get people to understand this is why we make this such an important matter.
Right. And I remember that. I remember that because, most of our customers, I know the owners, pretty well. But and I'm not going to say any names, but this specific customer, I only dealt with their president. I never dealt with the owner over there.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know that the guy, the guy I was talking about was the owner. So I was like, oh, who is this, so and so person? And everybody was like kind of quiet, and I was like, I don't know, maybe there's no user by that name. And then I figured out, no, he was the owner.
it was such, I think it was an eye opener, and it's amazing that when we do let people know about the intrusion prevention system, dark web security, MFA, and the reasons why, and then we put them kind of through a test, like, okay, well, here's the reason why you want this. We have this information.
Exactly. And like I try to tell people, look, it's a process, and we have this process down. The first thing you want to do, the first thing anybody wants to do, if you come to us and say, hey, Nadeem, somebody comes and says, hey, Nadeem, I want you to take care of my IT, just send me a quote and just do it. I've already decided. And I'm going to say, no, hold on. We're not going to do anything. The first thing we're going to do is an assessment, and I'm not going to charge you for it. Let me do an assessment because I want to see how bad the situation is.
Yeah.
If I even want to get into it, I want to test the water in that pool before I get into it. Right.
Yeah.
And then once I make sure that, okay, the pool is deep enough and it's just the way I like it, and yes, I can swim across, then I'm going to jump into it. I don't want to jump into it, not knowing what's in there. So it's very important. The first step for anybody to do is get an assessment done. Even if you have your own IT, I mean, like what happened with this law firm, they have their own IT team, but had they done a third-party assessment, they would have known some of the weak points.
Yes.
And a lot of times when things are not, it's like when you don't have a problem, you kind of close your eyes and think, okay, well, no, everything is fine. And I hear this all the time. I'll be talking to customers, and some of these customers are long-term customers, and I tell them, I'm like, hey, this is coming up on the horizon. We need to implement this. And they'll be like, no, but you're taking good care of us. We're fine. Everything's been fine. Everything's running good. And I'm like, well, yeah, but, technology is changing. People are changing.
Yeah.
Systems are changing.
Yeah.
I mean, like that, the bug that was found in CPUs, the meltdown and the scepter bugs. I mean, things are changing. And if you don't stay on top of it, if you don't stay ahead of the curve, then it's, by the time you find out that something's wrong, it's already too late.
It's already too late. Yeah.
And I can't, impress on this enough that, get the assessment done. Get the assessment done on a routine basis. Now, what do? We say minimum once a year. You should get an assessment. Minimum once a year. Just do it once a year. Because even if, and we say this not just to, new customers or prospects or anybody like that. We say this to even our customers.
Yes,
because we've seen so many times over the course of a year, different devices get installed in the enterprise, on the network. You'll get printers, you'll get scanners, you'll get routers, you'll get Wi-Fi access points. I mean, I've even seen where employees will bring a little switch with them and plug it in because they only have one drop in their office, one network drop in their office, and then they want to connect multiple devices.
Yeah.
So they bring this little switch in. Oh, no big deal. They plug it in, and the IT team doesn't even know it. Unless they come in there and look at it, they don't even know it because they're not doing any kind of assessment. They're not doing any kind of routine assessments. And that's very critical because when we do the assessment, not only do we do it from several different angles, but we also, the way we present the report, it's very understandable for upper management. So we're not trying to show the technical guys, the IT guys, hey, this is the problem, you need to do it this way. No, what we're doing is we're showing management, hey, this is a problem and this is what it's going to cost you, and at the end of the day. So you're not seeing that there is a leak somewhere in your bucket. that money is flowing in here. And if you fix that leak, now you have more in your pocket. Management sees that. So once we put like a monetary value on it, they can see, okay, this we need to, prioritize, first, and then this is going to be number two. Forget about the technical details or the technicalities or all of that. Forget technology. We just need to fix the issue and talk about it in a way that upper management understands.
Yeah.
So we do the assessment. That's the first thing, and then we come up with a plan. Like for certain customers, whatever router they have might be okay. For certain other customers, we're going to come in and say, hey, that router, we need to replace. Or yet other customers, we're going to say, oh, hey, there's this one machine in your data center that we need to get rid of. And we've had instances where some of the customers didn't even know that machine was still on their network. It was an old machine that should have been decommissioned years ago. It just never got disconnected, decommissioned. It was just sitting there, and it's a wide open door for anybody to just walk in. And they may not even know that somebody's walked in and out, or somebody's been coming in and out of that door. They don't even know it. Until somebody finds that huge stash of data that they can monetize on, and then they figure out, oh, okay, well, now we have 700 some odd gigs worth of data. And that's what happened with this law firm, was 760 some odd gigs worth of data. I mean, that's getting close to a terabyte.
Yeah, that's
a lot of data. What was in it? I mean, that's a lot of, what is it, like movies or pictures or what? What's in there?
Yeah. So, the great thing about what we do at PCSN is that it's thorough. I mean, Nadeem has years of doing this, and even now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're working with people as it pertains to COVID and just trying to help people with that. We understand things are going on. Money flow could be short, but if you could talk a little bit about how you're helping people with that.
So, I'm gonna give you a little story here. I was in a meeting. I was in a meeting with Bill. He used to be the owner of Bubbles Car Wash at the time. They sold the company now. But so I was in a meeting with Bill, and something came up, and I told, I don't know, I don't even remember the details, but I said something to the effect that, okay, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do it this way. We're just going to leave it. And I told my guys, okay, let's go. We're done here. And Bill looked at me and said, whoa, hold on. What are you doing? We're just talking here. What are you doing? And I'm like, if you don't want to implement this here now, then we cannot help you. Yeah. And it was pertaining to security. So I was ready to walk out, and he was like, and then after things cooled down and we sat back down, and he was like, Nadeem, you just fired a customer that makes you so much money, and how can you do that? And I'm like, look, this is my passion. This is fun for me. If it stops becoming fun, then I don't need a customer that's not fun. I like to challenge myself, but there are certain things that if it's like black and white to me, hey, this needs to happen a certain way, and I make a recommendation to the customer. Okay, one time the customer says, no, we'll just, let's go another, 2 months or 3 months. And now if I know that the customer is ready, they understand the repercussions, and they're still saying, no, we're not going to do it this way, then I don't want my name to be on that network that we maintain that network, and then that network gets hacked, and they say, well, who was maintaining that network? They're not going to say, oh, so-and-so was maintaining it. No, they're going to say, oh, yeah, PCSN was maintaining it now. So I don't want to deal with that. Yeah. I'm ready to walk away. And the comment he made was, he said, Nadeem, I wish I had a business like yours. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I wish my business was doing so well that I can afford to lose customers. And I told him, I was like, Bill, it's not always about the money.
Yeah.
It's my passion. It's not about the money. Money is a fringe benefit. It comes after. Yeah. But it's my passion. I love what I do, and that's why I do it. If it stops becoming my passion, if I stop liking what I do, then I wouldn't do it. Why do it? Right? I mean, it's like, I I don't consider this to be a job that I have to go to, that I have to work. I enjoy doing it. So I look forward to, coming up with the next challenge and figuring it out and fixing things and or sometimes it's breaking things and then putting them back together. But that's the thing. Now, what we're doing for companies that are affected by COVID-19, and it's it's one of those sad situations where everybody was kind of caught off guard.
Yeah.
And companies that are impacted by this, we are going to do anything we can to help them.
Yep.
If they need some kind of remote setup going, we're willing to get that going for them. And we're giving away free service. We're giving away free systems just to keep them in business, so they keep going. They keep operational. They keep the people that they have employed. They keep them employed.
Yep.
They keep, they keep doing their part in the economy, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the way I see things, we haven't even seen the impact of the economic impact yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be probably a couple of months until we start seeing some of the things of what we've done for the last couple of months. So we haven't even seen that yet. It's like a big ocean liner. It takes a while to turn. So we've kind of moved the rudder to one side, but the ship hasn't started turning yet. So it's
That's a good analogy.
Once it starts turning, then it's gonna keep turning, and it's gonna take a while to straighten it out. And so everybody needs to do their part. But what we're doing is, for companies that are impacted by COVID, if you need support, if you need help, reach out to us. We have resources. We were fortunate enough, we were not impacted. Our customers are in good shape. We don't have any issues. We're not scrambling. We're not pulling our hair out. So we have extra resources so we can help. So if you are a small business impacted by COVID, by the current crisis, do reach out to us. Call us, 281-402-2620, 281-402-2620, and Mack will take care of you. So, but the thing is, in all seriousness, it really is free service. It really is. It's not like, give me your credit card and then I'm going to give you a free service. No, we don't need your credit card. We don't need anything like that. We're just going to help as much as we can. And if we can't help you, we'll tell you, hey, we can't help you.
We can't help you, yeah.
Yeah, if we can, great. We'll try to help you. Yeah. So that's the thing. And I think what I'm going to do is maybe I'll write a letter to small businesses in the area.
That's a great idea.
Because they may not be watching this, right? Yeah. They may not be. They may not know about us. They may not hear this message. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to send out a letter to all the small businesses in the area offering this help, and I'm going to put it in writing. Hey, if you need help, we can help. Yeah. We have the resources. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about you don't have money right now. You're strapped for cash or whatever. Don't worry about it. Let us help you. We'll help you. We'll be friends and call it a day. The thing is, at the end of the day, we got to help each other out. It's crunch time. It's like, I remember, back in the day, we used to fly from city to city rolling out Salesforce automation software, and it was like 4 days straight, day and night, because we had to set up everything. We needed to deploy the systems. We needed to do user training. So it was like 3-4 days, day and night. We were working, and then that was crunch time. We had to get it done, and then it was done, and then it was party time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's crunch time. Let's get it done, and then we party later. Once everybody's safe, everybody's in good shape, then we party later. So the party's gonna come. You just gotta stick with it. Get through the tough times, and the good times are gonna come. Eventually they'll be there. But yeah, so reach out, call us, email myself, email Mack, call us, at 281-402-2620. Look, shoot us an email. We never charge for email. We've never charged for email. So just shoot us an email. What's the worst that can happen? The worst we can say is, hey, we can't help you. right? So you're in no worse shape if we say that.
True.
But we can say, oh yeah, we can help you. Or maybe we'll say, hey, we can't help you, but this is what you need to do. At least we can point you in the right direction. So if you are impacted, I would highly recommend reach out to us. We do have resources. We can help you, and I hope everybody comes out safe at the end of this. And we got to help each other out. I mean, that's the bottom line. There's basically nobody who's going to help us.
Yeah. Well, the last thing we're just just to end it on a lighter note is, once all this craziness is done, what are you going to do to unwind? Because I know for you, I remember one of the first things I remember was like, he really likes road trips. He likes to, get out there on the open road. I'm more of a, stay resort hotel type of guy. But what are you planning on doing when we can finally, breathe?
Well, so we I don't know if you knew this, but we had a daycare which we are closing. So we're going to close the daycare. Yeah. And the daycare was an issue because it meant that my wife can't just be gone for weeks on end, right?
Right.
So, she had to be there, and stuff. So now with the daycare closed, that means that she can be gone for weeks. So what we were thinking was maybe we'll take the RV and maybe go up into Colorado or something, just stay in the mountains with nobody around, just to have some quiet time. Now, of course, quiet time for me is, in the middle of nowhere, but I got to have my connectivity. So what I do, and maybe we'll go into the details of what I do, but basically I have connectivity no matter where I am. I have this system on my RV where it can pull Wi-Fi signals from a very far distance. So that's one thing so it basically pulls it's got an antenna on the top. So once you extend the antenna, it can pull the Wi-Fi signals and rebroadcast them internally. So people in the RV and around the RV get a boosted signal. And then if that fails and if there's really nothing around, then we have cellular connectivity. So we connect our cellular system into that same system. Yeah. So basically, our devices are always connected to the same network. And whether we are cellular, whether we are pulling Wi-Fi or whatever we're doing, our devices stay connected to the same network. And of course, my wife, she's gotta watch her news and she's gotta watch her shows. So the TVs and everything, and these are all IP-based TVs, right? So we have these TVs connected to the same access points to the same network. So once we have this connectivity, whether it's Wi-Fi or cellular or whatever, it powers our TVs, our cell phones, computers, whatever have you. So we get basically the best of both worlds. We get peace and quiet. We can have a campfire outside, but then somebody calls and says, "Hey, I need something done right now," and only Nadeem can do it. I can always jump.
You're always there. Always ready. Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for just listening to us. We're hoping that you do take us on our offer. If you are out there, you're a small business, we're here to help. We really do want to help. Otherwise, we will see you next week. We'll have another edition of this with some great topics. And we'll see you next week. Have a great day.
Everybody be safe out there.
Be safe. Bye.